Texas House Committee investigating the mass shooting in Uvalde is asking for the release of surveillance video from inside the school.
That's right. State lawmakers say the video does not contain audio or show children being killed, but it is expected to shed more light on the police response to the shooting. A recent report found law enforcement officials missed several opportunities to stop the gunman. The new video could be out as early as today. CBS News correspondent Lilia Luciano joins us now from Uvalde, Texas, for more on this. Hi, Lilia. Great to see you.
Good to hear you both, Tony and Tanya. Last time we saw each other, we were here. I'll tell you how this community has changed. This community is angry. They're demanding answers. They've been protesting, marching. Right now, the latest on this video, the so-called hallway video, it's a video that shows the 77 minutes that passed between the moment that the shooter enters the room to the moment that police finally breach that classroom, is the main piece of evidence that people are demanding to see. I've talked to several parents, family members, siblings, community members. The mayor of Uvalde has been demanding that that video be released. DPS, today we learned from the chairman of that committee you were talking about, that DPS has agreed that the video should be released, but the video is in the hands of the DA. The Uvalde County DA is the one that is saying or that is preventing any of the evidence, this body cam video, anything else that helps answer questions as to why did it take police so long. She's the one, Christina Busby, that is holding it back. DPS says the DA is preventing any of that from being released. DPS is on board, the mayor is on board, and the community is asking to see it. I can't say when it will be released, but we are not very hopeful that the DA will finally allow for that piece of evidence to be out to the public today.
Lilia, you touched on this for a second, but I'd love to hear you talk a bit more about how parents who are demanding answers, as you put it, are feeling about the state and progress of the investigation.
Yeah. Look, Tony, they're angry. Yesterday was, I was here for almost 2 weeks, starting the night of the shooting. Yesterday was one of the days where I saw something that I hadn't seen before. It was a moment when hundreds of members of this community, parents, siblings, neighbors, the entire community came together in the most active way that I've seen so far. They started marching at Robb Elementary all the way here. It was the Unheard Voices of Uvalde March. The people who organized this march that hundreds of people showed up to were the family members of Jacqueline Casares, her sister Jasmine, and her father. The two of them and her mother Gloria together invited the Brown Berets, who were essential in organizing protests of the Chicano movement and lots of other activities back in the 60s and 70s and throughout history still today. They showed up, several chapters from across Texas. Two survivors of the Parkland shooting were invited by the parents to come here to speak. That was David Hogue and Sam Fuentes. They spoke in private to the community, to the parents, on how to do effective advocacy, and they also spoke here on at the podium. We heard from the children, the daughter of Irma Garcia, who lost both her mother and her father, as you remember, who died of a heart attack just 2 days later. We heard from several parents talking about the importance of implementing change when it comes to guns. Everybody seemed to agree the age limit should change, and everyone I spoke with said, look, even though we like our guns here in Texas, we understand the hobby. The father that we talked to yesterday was telling us that, even though he lost his daughter, he has ARs. But they're saying it's too easy to get these guns. So they're working together with local organizers, with all of these, within the community, with the family members. A lot of those families are now in Washington, D.C., meeting at the White House. Some are protesting at a rally in D.C. They're saying there needs to be some kind of control to make these kinds of weapons less accessible to someone like this shooter. I spent some time also with people in the community who are saying we need to implement change, and the only way that happens is through voting. So they had, right here actually where I'm standing, they had a tent, and they were urging people to register to vote. The other person who was here, who's a national name, was Beto O'Rourke. A lot of people in the community were saying, how come Governor Abbott isn't here? You know, Beto O'Rourke, who's challenging him, he was here. He gave a speech. He said, I'm here just as a member of this community. I'm not campaigning. But of course, people were grateful for his presence. This is only the first. The organizers told me this is the first. We hope to continue marching and participating in rallies throughout the rest of the summer. And if necessary, we will do some walkouts when school starts.
Seems like this community is demanding to have its voice heard, and that will be the case for a while there, Lilia.
Yeah, and Lilia Luciano putting in the time there to do the reporting that this story requires, sticking with it. Lilia, thank you very much.